Good evening, I am Adventure Argonaut, and this is the golden news, the news to bring you the blues. So first, let's see that my streams are working, and today I should also be streaming on Twitter because I paid that one USD or 10 HKD for premium subscription, whatever stuff. So let's see if anything, I don't know, is different. So is it streaming on Twitter now? Let's see. What's going on now? My computer is working quite slowly today. So I hope everything will be fine. All right. Again, it says I'm streaming also on Twitter, but I'm not quite sure whether it's actually streaming there. Like my OBS is telling me that. Hello, and now my computer is stuck. Okay. So how can I see where if I'm streaming or not? I did test it out earlier. Okay. Live. Okay, it says I'm live on X. So I guess that's fine then. All right, all right. Let's go to do the stream then. It says I'm live on X. So I guess. Shut up. It turned the it wasn't muted, but okay. I almost said play the game, but let's see what news we have. So the biggest news is the typo fire in Hong Kong that happened last week. I think it was Wednesday. Like over 100 people died and stuff, and it was well, big news all over the world. So let's have a look. I have quite a few articles and or comments here. All right. So now we are here. So this guy, Finn Lau, says, I don't often speak in my professional capacity as Hong Kong born, UK chartered construction professional, Emmerich, whatever those are, but I need to address inaccurate reporting about bamboo scaffolding in the Hong Kong typo fire. HK is my homeland, renowned for its skyscraper skyline and the traditional craft of bamboo scaffolding. Over its 185-plus year history, bamboo has been widely used in Hong Kong construction for its flexibility, ductility, lightness, and fire resistance. Emphasis on fire resistance. Contrary to public misconception, the physical structure of bamboo itself makes it a flame-resistant material. Rather, it is the corrupt practice of using non-compliant and flammable mesh netting that is the likely cause of the fire's rapid spread. Those mesh materials can accelerate vertical and lateral fire spread from lower floors to higher floors, and between blocks. This is primarily evidenced by photos showing the structural integrity of bamboo after a 2-day sustained fire. More broadly, to facilitate the absorption of HK into PRC to China, the HK government has been keen on dismantling Hong Kong unique culture, bamboo craft, neon signage, historic buildings, and languages, to name a few, alongside ongoing crackdown on judiciary system and free speech. instead of launching an independent investigation immediately, as the UK did with the Grenfell Tower fire, the HK government announced on the following day it would accelerate the switch to Chinese imported metal scaffolding without first completing a full investigation. See, okay, talking about the suspects who might be behind this, my first, suspect would be these people. At least, assuming that there was more than a mere accident here. It's also ignored reporting. It also ignored reporting and prior whistleblowing about the widespread use of non-compliant flammable mesh nets on HK construction sites in the previous year, as well as brushing off potential legal negligence of senior HK officials on the 2024 whistleblowing. So I understand it can be sometimes be hard to get a full picture while reporting fast-moving incidents. Still, I urge journalists to correct inaccuracies when they arise. Reinforcing misconceptions about bamboo craftsmanship only supports a misleading official narrative. So Hong Kong's devastating fire must spell the end of bamboo scaffolding. Evan Withall. I wonder what his early life says about him. My thoughts are with Hong Kong, the lives lost and everyone affected. May justice be to Hong Kong. So yeah, this is just one evidence that the bamboo scaffolding wasn't the culprit here. And this is Wikipedia is just here to see what the current death toll is now. And here it says 156 died, 79 injured as of 2nd of December. So and over 30 people remain unaccounted for. So, and a bunch of pets who presumably died too. So that's quite a lot of people. And surprise, surprise, this Kevin Yam says the Hong Kong police is now treating the mass self-mobilization of citizen-led volunteers in aid of victims of the Typo fire as a national security threat, with Chief Superintendent Lee Kwai-wah, who is sanctioned by the US for his leading role in Beijing's crackdown on dissent in HK, from the National Security Division inspecting relief operation sites for evidence of national security crimes. So people who actually try to do something that the government won't, they are the problem, as usual. And this guy says disgusting bamboo isn't the cause, and Hong Kong's chief secretary is taking the avoidable disaster as an excuse to please Beijing or Peking state-owned builders which are in deep financial troubles. Bamboo is fireproof and won't spread the heat like metal scaffolding. Banning bamboo will lead state-owned builders to take over locals' jobs. When the death toll may rise to 3 figures, these autocrats are still trying to lick Beijing. Yeah. And here is Kevin Yam again. Yahoo Financial. I don't know who he is, but he's here twice already. Yahoo Financial News reports that Hong Kong experts' opinions about the bamboo scaffolding being safe are being ignored by the PRC netizens as the Hong Kong government seeks to ram through mandated use of metal scaffolding. Unsurprisingly enough, this has coincided with a record glut in the PRC metal scaffolding materials market amidst multiple scandals over fake steel being used in making scaffolding materials. Oh yeah, of course there's that possibility always. Like if they start using metal scaffolding that, is gonna be Chinese and fake. And there's just few pictures of it. Yeah, here it says killed 36, so that's from the first day, I guess. Yeah, this well-known pictures. Yeah, it does look apocalyptic, as the guy says. Yeah. So like this is criminal, whether it's criminal negligence or actual arson or some things, like stuff like you can say like, yeah, it's an accident, you have a car crash and a couple of people die, but this is the damage and the death toll and everything's like beyond a mere accident. which is why there should be a actual investigation. But I presume there's not going to be like a real one to really find out, because whoever is actually responsible, they're going to be have money and or power, and they don't want to be crucified for it. And sort of like the Notre Dame fire in Paris, like whenever it was over, I don't know, was it like 8 years ago, 6, 7, 8, something like that. Like, even though I don't think anybody died in that, but it is irreplaceable heritage site and all that stuff, and it was burned. And I don't think they did any kind of investigation. It's just like, yeah, we don't want to, at least, like, well, they had an investigation probably like independently, like the government and stuff, but they didn't really publish. I don't think anybody was held responsible or anything. And even there was some sus footage here and there showing some people there where they shouldn't be, and but like no, nothing seemed to have come of it. I know France is a different country than China or Hong Kong or anything, but it's still the same kind of people in charge, like spiritually speaking. Anyway, Reddit post states government-funded care teams busy taking photographs of themselves while actual volunteers do all the work of organizing supplies at Typo after the fire. Yeah, that's what they do. Reminds me of the earthquake in Japan, and also the Fukushima power plant problems. When was it? 2011? Is it really that long ago? God damn it. Okay, and I have to close the video because it's making everything slow. This fucking, how can a few tabs make everything so slow? Anyway, so yeah, back in the day in Japan, like, I think the first people who brought supplies to the people affected by the, earthquakes and stuff, it was the Yakuza, you know. It wasn't volunteers or the government, no, it was the Yakuza, the organized crime. So it's like the government, but actually they seem to do something useful every now and then. Okay, Wangfu Court residence. So that's the place that burned down. Wangfu Court. I believe that Fu is the same Chinese character as in Fukushima. I think, I actually not sure if I've seen it, but sort of assume, because it means good luck. Anyways, the resident said he had complained about the use of styrofoam in recent renovations. Police suspect materials that were not fire safe may have been exacerbated when Wednesday's blaze, which has claimed 65 lives. Oh, it was 65 at this point. Okay. So yeah, some have, of course, speculated that the styrofoam was there intentionally to cause a fire. Don't know if that's true, but it's a possibility. What's this? Local journalist Boomhead has uploaded a video he found on the internet that shows one of the earliest moments of the Typo fire, showing the extreme speed the fire spread up to the exterior of the building. Let's see. Yeah, here you can see it. So I wonder if that's where the fire started, or maybe were there like multiple fires in different locations, or okay, now it's bigger fire. So yeah, the speed that it with its spread, the fire, how it spread, some have speculated that it means it was deliberate. I don't know what it is, but I maintain that it is a horrible crime, and the people responsible should be held responsible. People responsible should be held, I don't know, liable. Let's put it that way. They should be brought to justice. Let's build a few oubliettes. Live press conference. So this is few days. It's already 5 days ago. So death toll was already 128 back then. And drones are experimental, far less effective in combating fire. Okay, this isn't really relevant information anymore. It's sort of outdated. Okay, and here is on the day of the typo fire at 1524, a doorbell camera from Van King Cite Flat shows a resident activated the building fire alarm, but it was off malfunction and didn't ring. So, okay, let's listen. Was she complaining about? But yeah, so if this is true, like it does lend credence to the claim that it was deliberate. Like, of course, it could be just incompetence. That's always a possibility, but when there's a bit too much incompetence, I usually began to suspect, something more. And here is from Associated Press, just propaganda. They were pretty quick on it to blame it on the bamboo. Raging fires sent up a column of flames and thick smoke as it spread on bamboo scaffolding that had been set up around the exterior of the complex in the city's typo district. So yeah, you can see it on the like here. It's not the bamboo that's on fire, and it's inside. Many apartments are on fire, but not the bamboo. Like, did they even look at their own footage? But yeah, a lot of uh, press that's not local has been like Western press has been spreading this info like since day one. I don't know if they're still spreading it. Maybe they realized how stupid they sound and how evil. Oh yeah, and then there's the one firefighter died in the fire. So he was 37 years old and he was going to be married in 1 month. So yeah, this I don't know, almost like a movie or something. Like, I'm gonna retire in 1 month, but yeah, so it goes. Oh yeah, and there's this footage. This is like a couple of days before the fire, and I don't think this is like over typo necessarily, but like this, like, of course it could be thunder, but like it has been reported in other parts of the world during disasters that this sort of weird light phenomena have been perceived. It is typo. Here it says typo, so it is. Oh, typo industrial village. Apparently I got uh, like somebody spoke into my earpiece, and so anyway, so it is over typo, a couple of days. So yeah, and it has been reported. Like, I remember there was some earthquake in Turkey a few years ago, and there were like weird light phenomena above it. So it made caused some people to speculate that it could be some sort of DUW, like what's that? Not like a directed energy weapon. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, like something like that. Like in Los Angeles fires. Los Angeles fires. A couple of years ago, whenever it was. There were like blue things that didn't burn, but everything else was burned pretty much, and people also speculated there. Of course, I heard the counter argument that this usually if such technology is used, then it's if such technology is used, it's usually like a larger scale because it was still a relatively small scale, and it would have been easier just to use more regular means, which probably it makes sense. But well, you saw the weird lights there. Didn't look like thunder really to me, but anyways, this is the firefighter who died. This is Ho Wai Ho. He perished in the line of duty while fighting the type of building fire Dyer. should be fire. And wasn't yesterday, but yeah, rest in peace, fireman. Yeah. And there's this. Let's just click to dismiss. Yes. Shocking new footage reveals workers were caught casually smoking while repairing the outer wall of Wang Fu Court, Typo in Hong Kong, moments before the entire building went up in flames. See, this is like, it's not shocking. Like, I really don't think it's like, somebody smoking a cigarette. Like, sure, it might cause a fire, but that wouldn't be the real reason. Like, let's say like accidental cigarette burnt, started the first fire, but the reason it spread to 7 buildings and killed over 100 people, then it's no, there's something else going on. Like, it's not just simple work, like one worker fucked up. Like, they should have some sort of contingencies in case of that. Like, yeah, maybe it's not the safest and best place to be smoking, but it's like, trying to pin it on some construction workers. I'm not buying it. It seems like a distraction. Uh, so yeah, another bamboo scaffolding goes to fire narrative is not only factually wrong, but it reflects the prejudice against in situ craft and Hong Kong's own construction traditions. The fire started with netting. The bamboo is still intact. We deserve better reporting. Yeah. It's possible there was something else that made this fire spread than just the netting, but yeah, the bamboo wasn't the culprit certainly. But there were, some people were very quick to point their fingers at the bamboo. That's both, I guess, for financial reasons, because there are some people who benefit from it if Hong Kong stops using bamboo for scaffolding, and also to misdirect attention away from the actual culprits, whoever they may be. And the CCP-installed Hong Kong government is already seeking to cash in on the tragedy CCP style. Apart from rushing to propose to get rid of bamboo scaffolding to the benefit of PRC state-favored construction companies and contractors, the government is also rushing to set up an account to take in donations, ostensibly to help victims of the fire. But PRC experience of funds like these, which regularly get set up after disasters, end up benefiting favored companies and contractors, which then profit insanely from substandard relief and construction projects using money gifted to them from such funds. And also, like, I heard some claims that um, some, like, there are, of course, many so called charities that have been set up so people could donate to the victims, but like, of course, some of those charities are scams. So then the richest guy in Hong Kong, Li Ka-sheng, he's some businessman who's really old now but still alive. He also, him and his family, like, donated some money to that too, and then like the regular people, or like his foundation. So they wanted to donate money to the foundation so the foundation could donate the money forward, because they trust him that he will actually do the right thing, at least in this matter, which is sort of fun. But of course, they said that they don't accept donations. Okay, if anyone is wondering why the PRC is interested in pushing anti-bamboo scaffolding propaganda, which the Hong Kong government is now also pushing, for those who can read Chinese, see graphics. Scaffolding works is one of the last bastions of construction work in which Chinese state-owned construction companies, property developers, and their preferred building contractors have not yet managed to get a foothold in Hong Kong, because bamboo scaffolding is not the standard in PRC. Yeah, it's because the bamboo scaffolding. Like, sure, sometimes when I walk past it, because I live in Hong Kong. I look at it bit of skepticism, but it's still, like, as far as I know, there aren't like many documented accidents due to bamboo scaffolding, whether it's fires or other collapses or something that causes people to hurt. So like if the construction workers know how to set them up, it seems to be very like fairly safe. And it's of course much cheaper than metal, like metal scaffolding and all that stuff. And we are very organic. Shouldn't that be like the green option? I guess people don't care about that stuff anymore. A new time-lapse video shows just how dramatic and intense the fire was. The death toll is, well, it's not 83 anymore, it's higher. Incident remains the worst fire in 80 years. Construction company bosses were arrested on manslaughter charges. One for court, Taipo, Hong Kong. So yeah, let's start from here. Not gonna play the whole thing, but yeah. But yeah, the company bosses who were arrested, I don't know whether they're the real culprits or whether they're just arrested and they're gonna be maybe they've been released already. I actually don't know. Like, is it who, are they really responsible? And if so, will they get punished properly or will it be a slap on the wrist? Well, if they're not like very pro China, then maybe they will be punished, whether they are really, truly the culprits or not. The bamboo scaffolding still stands. FYI for of those who blame it. So it's 25 hours later, and it looked like this. Yeah, it didn't burn. Like probably a few parts of bamboo burned, but like generally, yeah, it doesn't burn so well. Guess like if you have to build a bonfire while in the wilderness, don't use bamboo. Police said the fire may have been spread by unsafe bamboo scaffolding and protective mesh sheets installed for maintenance by a construction company. Well, I guess the nets are or the sheets they are correct, but yeah, not scam. Well, the bamboo was holding up the mesh sheets, and see here they look, sort of trying to set the image in your mind that the bamboo has to go down. Yeah, like seeing shit like this, even though this is Sky News, it's isn't it Australian and Australia is owned by Israel or China, so that's yeah, like seeing shit like this makes me think it might have been deliberate. The list of animals rescued or found deceased from the Saibo building fire has been published. So yeah, it's all in Chinese. I don't read much Chinese, but a little bit. Like it's cat. I'm not sure what this means. It doesn't mean it's dead or alive or anything. And this is like two cats, one dead, one rescued, or being, I guess, being like I don't know, doing CPR. And two cats, I guess, rescued, dog rescued, or some sort of cat. Yeah, yeah, you know, not sure what this is. Some sort of like ash color, something female, something. I don't know. Cats. Could this be a turtle? I don't know. Some sort of bird. Yeah. Whatever. I just saw this list. I wanted to, have a look at it for fun. Bamboo scaffolding retaining structural integrity while fire ravaged through green netting in Hong Kong incident. Yes. I have bit too many of tabs like that, but okay. Hong Kong CCP mouthpiece Wen Weipo published an article declaring that remnants of the black-clad riots and yellow persons have infiltrated relief efforts in the Taipo fire, citing residents who saw people wearing black masks, reminding them of 2019 troublemakers. It reminds me of like J6 in America and stuff like that. But drawing conclusions that don't really make sense to a sane person. Even after reunification, hostility towards the people of Hong Kong remains high among Chinese. They can even joke about mass casualty events. Please share it and let everyone know how Chinese see the people of Hong Kong. So yeah, because it just goes to show that even though, like, yes, Hong Kong is a part of China now, but it's not really culturally, it's not considered part of China by ethnically Chinese people, whether they live here or there on the continent. So yeah, impressive. It's really beautiful. Looking at the fire. So Hong Kong style bamboo roast meat rice, tasty. Yeah, burning through generations. Let the Queen bless them. Well, the Queen died a couple of years ago, and Hong Kong hasn't been under any kind of queen. I don't want to. Maybe it's better for me not to make any joke about Winnie the Pooh. But anyways, it's been like almost 30 years since they left the British purview. What is the cause of the fire? Well, okay, that's a legit question. They can't be saved. The only thing that can be done is to evacuate the victims. They can only demolish the building after the fire is put out. Okay, that's an opinion. Whether it's right or wrong, I can't say, but that's not anything insensitive. No problem. This is hot and hospitable. Remember the CJ7, the main character died because of bamboo scaffolding. I don't know what that is. Okay, don't know. The fire disaster in Hong Kong is a big test of whether there is any space for public advocacy left in the city. So far, it seems not. A student who organized a mild petition calling for official accountability has been arrested. So, one person who started a petition calling for accountability for the Wangfu court fire in Hong Kong has reportedly been taken away by national security police. Unclear whether arrested. Yet the Instagram account of the petition has been shut down. Yeah, I don't know if it's been released or not. And 3 days after the fire outbreak, Hong Kong National Security Police arrested a student who initiated an online petition with 4 demands. One, keep supporting the affected residents and ensure proper rehousing. Two, set up an independent inquiry into the fire, including suspected collusion. Three, re-examine construction work supervisory and regulatory framework. Four, hold officials accountable for regulatory negligence. Instead of carrying out full investigation on the fire and supporting affected people, the Hong Kong government chose to swiftly arrest the citizen. In the name of defending national security, who make these reasonable demands. With over 100 of lost lives and thousands of affected people, the priority of Hong Kong government is clear. Hong Kong people is always the bottom of its list. It perfectly reflects how corrupt the government is. And yeah, there have been people sort of predicting there might be, demonstrations of some sort, and some sort of upheaval in Hong Kong society because of this stuff. Because it's like the basic responsibility of any government is to protect its people, but clearly they're not doing it. So the people are not very pleased with it, and they will be hoping for change, and that's gonna lead to conflict, of course. And since I am in Hong Kong, I'm trying to be um, you know somewhat neutral. Like try to speak neutrally here. But anyways, I think this was the last tab. Hello, my computer froze again. All right, all right. But let's go to other news then. So that's it. Let's leave Hong Kong behind for now, and some U.S. Politics bullshit. There's not gonna be much of that. Very little U.S. politics today, but a little bit. So The White House tweeted, I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden because the people who operated the auto pen did so illegally. President Donald J. Trump. So do they actually, I guess they can check whether it's somehow determine whether it's been done by auto pen or not. But it's interesting. So I wonder how many executive orders are like that are cancelled. And Kim.com asks, does that include the Fauci pardon? Good question. How about pardon of Hunter Biden? I don't know. Um, and what's this? You'll remember when Doge found so much fraud that not a single one person was charged with fraud. Yeah, this brings me back to a sort of more optimistic time, the beginning of the year when Trump was just reassumed office, and it seemed like him and his administration was at least trying to do some good. But then, Doge, they shut down U.S. aid, I guess, or maybe they probably just renamed the organization and are doing the same kind of stuff. And they were supposed to audit Fort Knox, but that never materialized or anything like that. So have they done anything like like the good things that the Trump administration seemed to do in the beginning of the year? It seems to have sort of just been slipped through the fingers, or there's probably some that I'm just forgetting because but so far they had good things like okay the chemtrail stuff they supposedly are bringing more light to chemtrails, but still not much yet, so no. And well, this isn't Trump. This is New York Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani has appointed a progressive transgender rabbi to serve on the city's health committee. So is this like a joke? I guess not. There's no community note, but like Zohran Mamdani, he was supposed to be like a Muslim. Why would he be appointing a transgender rabbi to the health committee? Does this look like a healthy person? Just look at the eyes. Are they healthy all in the head? I don't think so. But yeah, that's it from like U.S. politics so far. Let's see what's next. Oh, Germany. Christmas cancelled in Germany, or at least German cities, some of them. So let's see. In many German cities, there is less or no Christmas sparkle this winter. It's too expensive, Bild reports. Christmas lights first cities pull the plug. So, and yeah, this guy, Return of Rome, says Germany closing Christmas markets because the security cost is too high while spending 30 billion euros on illegals who are the actual security reason why Christmas markets are closed pretty much sums up Western Europe. Yeah. Like there isn't like to borrow a page from like leftist book, that there's no reason why there's starvation and poverty and stuff, or like there's no reason why cities can't have Christmas lights except like because the vast majority of money goes to the pockets of certain people, and it's not just greedy businessmen or something as well. It tends to be the kind of businessmen who have small hats or have like special handshakes that only they recognize. That's kind of people. Let's see. There's other German and European news here as well. A man was arrested by police in Britain after he posted a picture online of himself posing with a gun in the US. He was then held overnight in a cell and bailed. I was told to be careful what I say online and I need to understand how it makes people feel. What? The police seized his computers and phone, so he had been unable to even work. They dropped the charges. The process is the punishment. So he was shooting a gun in United States. He wasn't shooting at people, he was just shooting it for fun. Well, okay, his name is Sean Richelieu Booth. Like, like John Wilkes Booth. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe I gained a little bit of sympathy for the police if they're worried with a guy called Booth with a gun. Maybe that's. But of course, I don't think he brought the gun with him to UK. But yeah, the process is the punishment. Exactly. Like, he didn't commit a crime, but he did something that somebody didn't like. So there. So that's toxic behavior. I mean, like, that's because I fucking hate this, the way the word toxic is used online nowadays, because it's like, it's very vague what is toxic, but it's toxic. Like, saying that guy is toxic because he shot a gun in the United States. Because somebody toxic just means something that somebody doesn't like but cannot explain it clearly why it's bad or anything. So, anyways, Britain has invaded 171 countries. France has killed 22 African presidents since 1963. The US runs more than 750 military bases in 80 nations. And you are worried about Russia. Yeah, exactly. And no, it's not like it's not whataboutism, because it is relevant. Like, sure, you can point out that Russia has done some bad things, but the same people don't seem to mind when the US does it, or Israel, or any country like that. Or nowadays, China. Like, back in 2008, when the Beijing Olympics happened, then it was like, in Western media they sort of like, oh, China has human rights violations, as if West didn't have them already back then. But now I guess it's not kosher anymore to talk about bad about China or anything, because every country is becoming China. British Transport Police launched AI facial recognition cameras. The cameras are now being installed quickly all across the English capital. I didn't remember this was going to be the next tab, but like I said, every country is becoming China. Yeah. But of course, like, it's not going to protect the regular people. Like, if there's a peaceful for immigrant with a nice knife of peace, somehow he's gonna be, avoid punishment and stuff. But like, if there's a Englishman using a slur of the wrong kind, then the police are gonna come for him. And then there's this: Adolf Hitler has returned to power. He's been re-elected for a fifth term. In Namibia, former German colony, 59-year-old old politician Adolf Hitler Unona has once again won regional elections in the Omupunja constituency. He has governed the district since 2004. Unona has acknowledged that he was indeed named after the Nazi dictator. No, I thought it was accident. Like, they rolled a dice like on his name, and it just came up Adolf Hitler. But he has no connection to Nazism. He also says he has no plans to change his name. I'm just wondering, like, everybody's pointing this news, but like, what are his policies? Does anybody know? Do they have any connection to Nazism, or like, what kind of policies is he pushing? Okay, let's move on to another topic. Well, it's in still Europe, basically, but this is EU digital ID dystopia. So, like, the digital ID, and I know that was the chat control. It was like, that they're gonna spy on everybody's private chats. It was defeated in the EU Parliament and stuff, but then the EU, of course, decided that no, we're gonna bring it back. And that doesn't surprise me, but I guess like the speed at which they are bringing. But anyways, let's see. EU Parliament votes for mandatory digital ID and age verification, threatening online privacy. Um, the EU just voted to advance a child protection plan that builds a digital ID system for the entire internet. Every user reveried. Re-verified. Okay, so I was like, what's this word? Re-verified. Every login tracked. Anonymity and surveillance begins. Free speech cannot survive a world that demands ID to speak. Yeah, but it's like, these bureaucrats and politicians belong in an oubliette, no doubt. But it's like, what are the European people doing? Like, how many Europeans are actually complaining about this? How many know about this, or do they care? They're like, oh well, it's good. It's so you cannot say naughty words on the internet. Like, what's going on with fucking white master race? That's why I made this video a week or two ago about that. I don't think white people like current Europeans shouldn't call themselves Aryans because they are not noble. They're fucking weak, cowardly. And I wish to change that, but the first thing to changing a problem is to recognize you have a problem, and there's something wrong with the European people, and it's not just that they're being lied to. There's a deeper malady. So EU passes bill for mandatory digital ID. Yeah. European Parliament has called for a ban on social media access for under 16s without parental consent. MEPs have requested that age verification mechanisms be enforced. See, I don't have problem with the basic idea of banning under 16-year-olds from social media, but that of course means that people who are adults, they also have to verify their IDs. It's like, it reminds me when I was 18-year-old and I wanted to go to a pub bar, and then they asked for my ID, and I was I didn't have an ID because the only ID that I possessed back in those days, before I had my driver's license, that I could have used to verify my age, was my passport. And the passport is fucking big. It wouldn't fit in my wallet, so I didn't even think that I should bring it. And then I wasn't let into the bar, even though legally I would have been allowed to go inside. And certainly I understand it from the bar's perspective, but this is just the kind of society that we lived already back then, like over a couple of decades ago when I was 18. That you know it's not it's not about honor or anything like that. It's all about having the right uh, papers and the bureaucratic bullshit and stuff. It's not about any like a barbarian kind of sense of honor that, yeah, I'm 18, let me in. And like, nope, you have to prove it, like, even though you are that's just bullshit. In like, certainly in some matters I understand, but I was offended back then, and I don't think it's wrong of me to have felt such way. Anyways, European Union monitor plans to monitor private chats for individuals. EU member states agreed on revised regulation commonly known as chat control. EU would hate my group chats, LMAO. Yeah, well, so far Hong Kong seems to be like, I don't have to verify my ID or anything here to go online. I don't know how it's in mainland China nowadays. But like, so far Hong Kong seems to be more free than EU, which is, I don't know if it's I should be happy or sad about that. Monthly AIDS verification will be required. Remind me how again? How is this protecting kids instead of spying on citizens? So yeah, EU will require people to undergo monthly AIDS verification just for going online. I'm not gonna read all that stuff, but I'm gonna assume Matt here, or whatever his name is. Yeah, it's Matt. is correct on this. Let them have what they voted for. It's European democracy. Yeah, except who actually voted for it. But that's democracy. And well, okay, that sort of triggers me because he's probably an American. This guy here, Charn Mod. Uh, it's European democracy. All of democracy is European. It comes from Europe. But yeah, democrat, and also back in the day from ancient Greece, Plato already said that democracy leads to tyranny. So already back then they knew that democracy isn't good. So because like the implication here is like there's good kinds of democracy, but it's like no, well, okay, like temporarily, yes, I do think that democracy can work for few generations until the people, the elected officials, instead of actually serving the people, they will start to serve their interests because some people will recognize that, oh, instead of actually doing what the people want me to do, I can just promise that I will do it and they will elect me, and then I can just start lining up my pockets and pushing for whatever dystopian measures I want. Anyway, EU pushes its LGBTQ agenda further. Every EU country must now recognize same-sex marriages registered anywhere in the Union, even if their own laws forbid it. I think that's a good picture of von der Leyen. Noticing a trend. Ursula von der Leyen, Europe has the values of the Talmud. Yeah, yeah. I did report on this back in the whenever it was a couple of months ago that she said that. All right, but I think we can move on to other news stories. So, the Pope bows to Turkey. We're not talking about Thanksgiving here, even though I guess the timing is interesting because it's around the same time, but to the country of Turkey. So Pope Leo XIV has just laid a wreath on the tomb of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, leader whose regime completed the destruction of Anatolia's ancient Christian communities after the Armenian, Greek, and Assyrian genocides. Yes, foreign dignitaries usually perform this ritual, but should a pope honor the architect of anti-Christian genocide? Yeah, well, has any other pope done it? It seems like no. Uh, I don't know. Has any other pope visited Turkey? I don't know. It's like I didn't think about this before, but it's like yeah, he seems to yeah, but it's like there's the old meme: is the Pope Catholic? And nowadays you can like question like, is he really? Sometimes I feel like I'm more Catholic than some of the Catholic clergymen nowadays. For the first time in history, and I'm not even a Christian. For the first time in history, the Pope led a mass using a Turkish hymn, even included the word Allah. Uh, well, okay, I don't know. Like, is that really that bad? Like, doesn't the word well, or is the word Allah word for God in Turkish, because that's the word in Arabic, right? So that's a bit. Maybe it is. Maybe they've. I guess they've adopted the word to mean God in general. But it's like so that's not too bad if it just means God, but still. Yeah, I guess it would be still better to just use Latin for masses because Latin is cool. Um, and it would also avoid, controversies such as this. And also, Pope Leo arrives in Lebanon as Israel bombs the country. So I don't know. Like I asked here, is he gonna apologize to Israel for inconveniencing their murderous schemes? So I wonder if he's done that yet, or is he gonna do it later? But yeah, anyway, this is from our based Pope, quote unquote, and let's move on to another news. Japan protests continue, and there's other Japan news here as well, because there have been, recent weeks protests against mass immigration and all that. Violent clashes happening in multiple locations. Leftist Antifa mobs are attacking peaceful protesters that oppose immigration policies. Things are escalating. So yeah, if this is happening, if the Antifa actually happening, just attacking people, I propose no mercy at all towards Antifa. Crush them, in any way you can, and do it with glee, 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 glee. Japan has just denied the construction of Muslim cemeteries in the country. The Muslim request for cemeteries is denied in Japan. Cremation is the tradition. The appropriate approach for Muslims is to return the remains to their own countries and bury them there. However, there's a community note saying that this is false. This is a member of a minor party that received about 15% of the vote in the recent upper house election. She is complaining about the Japanese government's position, which thinks local government should decide cemetery issues. So I guess this is fake news. So I don't know if it's gonna mean that they will start building Muslim cemeteries. But I have a solution to the problem. Like, if you're a Muslim and you're in Japan, just don't die. That should be easy, right? And this video is going viral in Japan. And of course, note that they are wearing the, World War II era battle flag, or whatever the official term for it is. But I like, looks nice fashion, and I do like the flag. It looks nice, and also like what it stands for. I think Japan and Germany both should be proud of their history and stop, cocking to the big winners. Like, I'm not saying, like, if the Axis had won that war back in the day, that everything would be peachy right now, but certainly we wouldn't be facing the problems we are facing now. We would be facing different problems, but it's like, clearly the allies were not the good guys either. Just look at how the world has degenerated since World War II. Oh yeah, and then there's this thing. So Maki Otsuki, 52, was escorted, so she's a singer or something, escorted off stage while performing at a concert in Shanghai on November 28. Chinese authorities continue to show their annoyance at the Japanese PM's comments. The stage lighting went off and the music was cut before two members of the stage crew came to talk to a clearly astonished singer, who then left the stage with them. There are several videos of the incident online. The second day of the two-day concert was cancelled shortly after. MakiOtsuki.com. Maki is probably best known for overseas for singing Memories, the first ending theme for the anime One Piece. I haven't watched One Piece. I don't know the song. Never heard of her before. But and here's no, this isn't. Here is that thing. Here's the video of her. I'm not gonna play the music if it's copyrighted or something. So yeah, China is canceling all Japanese concerts across the country. Unfortunately for the CP, the people actually like Japanese music since Japan has many popular singers and bands. This only works one way too, as almost no Chinese singers are popular outside of China. So come on. Blah blah blah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let's move on. Blah, blah, blah. And where is the? Okay. Then it goes dark, and then they come to fetch her off. And of course, uh, this is of course deliberate, that they had to cancel the concert while it was going on and not cancel it beforehand or anything, because I could, sort of respect that political differences might cause countries to cancel concerts and stuff like that. I'm not saying that's inherently bad or anything, because, like, if it was an Israeli artist or something, I can't say I would be sad if their concerts were cancelled or anything. But this is like, it was done during the concert. That's to send a message. So, I think the rest of the world also should send a message to China and stuff. But of course, like, well, that the kind of message Europe is sending, that they're like, oh, Oni-chan, please tell me how to implement social credits better and stuff. So that's kind of message Europe is sending. But I hope that Japan is actually gonna become based and stuff. There's not many places left for that. And then this is good news. The first time I saw this is like I read it the opposite. But Japan's same-sex marriage ban is constitutional, says Tokyo court. So unlike EU, where the state enforced homosexuality and forcing EU nations to accept gay marriages from other countries, but here is like Japan is so same-sex marriage ban is allowed. Because first I thought it's like same-sex marriage is constitutional. No, it's the ban that's constitutional. So that's good. Now this, the CCP recently told its citizens not to travel to Japan because of ongoing tensions. So the Chinese flocked to South Korea. Now South Koreans are protesting the Chinese to get out. I think this is funny. And this is from Japanese news. Yeah, but this, I don't know. Are Japan and South Korea gonna become friends now over this issue or something? Strange bedfellows. Oh, yeah, and there's this news. Japanese beer giant Asahi says data breach hit 1.5 million people. Largest beer producer has finished investigating the cyber attack and found that incident impacted up to 1.9 million individuals. The compromised data includes full names, genders, physical addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses, which could be used in phishing attempts. But if it's no, yeah, physical addresses, it could mean even worse things. Uh, and I don't know if like it's been officially stated who or what is responsible, but like some people are speculating it has something to do with China. I'm not going to speculate on that, but that's what somebody suggested. But yeah, it's people point out it's not just Asahi doesn't just make beer; they make many other drinks too, and maybe other food. I'm not quite sure about that, but certainly other kinds of drinks. Oh yeah, and then there's this secret map leaked from Ministry of Foreign Affairs in China, allegedly. They painted the entirety of Korean Peninsula, Taiwan, and western half of Japan, including Okinawa, as their own territory. The map has the year 2050 written on it. hmm I'm sort of, I sort of want them to try because it's like it's gonna, the way things are going on in the world is that everything is just degenerating slowly. But like this would like I don't know hasten things up. Like maybe this is what the world needs. Well, no, I think maybe still nuking a certain Middle Eastern country would be better. All right, but let's move on to other news. So what do we have here? Oh, attempts to blackmail Candice Owens. Yeah, it's still like I sort for the record, I sort of like Candice Owens, but I certainly don't trust really any e-celebrity that much. But like I like her more than most other people in her position and stuff. So at least I'm gonna have give her some benefit of the doubt, and it's not just Candice Owens is Project Veritas. Or however, I have no idea how reliable they are nowadays because they kicked out Ken O'Keefe and stuff. So I don't know if maybe they've sort of fixed their shit since then because it's been a couple of years, right? Anyways, leaked messages published on Project Veritas have ignited a storm around Candice Owens after claims that the daughter of a former senior Department of Justice official discussed plans to blackmail her. See, like this information is not coming from Candice Owens. She's not making the claim because, like, many people who don't like her are calling her insane and all that stuff. But I don't think this is her delusion. This is somebody else making this stuff. And if she's crazy, why would they want to blackmail her? Laura Loomer really wants us to know that another 9/11 style attack is coming soon and that it was the Muslims who did it. Cynical doubters will say this is just preconditioning for when the Israelis pull a false flag and blame it on Muslims. So Candice Owen says they have been signaling that the 9/11 style attack is coming the second week of December. So that will be next week then. Save this tweet, it will age well. So see, I have no idea whether that's going to happen. I do know that some people have been signaling another 9/11, but whether it's going to happen this year or this month, which well, it's the same, it's the last month of the year. No idea about that, but we'll see. We'll see next week. So like 2 weeks from now, during my um, golden news, because I presume it's not going to happen like on a Monday. So let's see, like in 2 weeks, whether she was right. I try to remember. Try to remember. Anyways, was this Project Constitution. A young Christian woman walked into a TPUSA, so Turning Point USA, faith event expecting Jesus. She left horrified. Here's what she witnessed. I went to a Turning Point USA event tonight thinking I'd hear politics through a biblical lens. Instead, I got a 90 minutes of weaponized hate from the stage, and it broke my heart. The speaker opened by declaring Candace Owens evil and anti Semitic before even opening the Bible. See, like, if Candace Owens is truly just a nutcase, why are they so intent on attacking her? Like, that's something I don't get. He spent the night trashing Tucker Carlson, calling left leaning people idiots, freaks, and losers while the crowd cheered. He preached that Christians must support the modern nation state of Israel no matter what it does, because Jesus was Jewish, and questioning anything is anti Semitism. He twisted scripture to justify unconditional political allegiance to a foreign government over America itself. Meanwhile, armed security, hand on gun, stood on stage and at every exit. The vibe wasn't worship, it felt more like intimidation. She said, I kept asking myself, would Jesus call sinners freaks and laugh? Jesus ate with prostitutes and tax collectors. Okay, that's a bit too much. Tax collectors. This wasn't the gospel, this was political indoctrination dressed in a cross. Or cross dressing. These events are marketed as Christian conservative training, but this young woman saw a captive audience of teenagers being taught that hate is holy and blind loyalty to political agenda is the same thing as loving God. Donors, is this where you want your money going? Funding stages where scripture is twisted to demonize fellow believers and demand allegiance to a foreign power above our own. If Turning Point faith has become a machine that labels Bible believing Christians evil for asking questions, it's time to pull the plug. Young Christians deserve better. America deserves better. Jesus definitely deserves better. So it's her, I guess, saying it. It's not going to play this video. So Pastor Rob McCoy caught lying about his son's heroic actions after Charlie Kirk assassination. Whatever, I'm not going to look that up. What's this then? This is absolutely insane. How many of our politicians have been set up, framed, or blackmailed into submission? So I need you to I need you to start working on the blah 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 and Candice Owens case. It's from 2021. So Armstrong will give you the commands, but we need to focus on black and put blank first. For work with Armstrong on this, send some underage girl to secure him. He's an easy target. Okay, the harder one is Candice because she's very resistant. Gather the group to come up with a good strategy, but don't waste time. For blank, it would be good to have something we could use to put him in jail. So yeah, we need to blackmail Candice faster. Project Veritas broke a huge story, blah blah blah, revealing that H.E. Bilbar's daughter was trying to set up and blackmail Candice Owens when she was a senior DOJ official. Mary Barr Daly also trying to set up someone with an underage girl to blackmail him. DOJ official. Like, okay, is the government actually doing about this? Because I've only seen these few tweets about this whole thing. Or is this fake news? Am I being bamboozled here? What's going on? Also, it appears they were running cover for former Baltimore candidate Kimberly Klacik. If so, it explains why Klacik has been on a huge rampage against Candice Owens since she questioned the campaign finance spending, calling her crazy and smearing her as insane. I don't think Americans understand how deeply corrupt our government truly is. This is just one text message. Imagine how many other people they have set up and blackmailed. Yeah. So yeah, have you just yeah? Candice is resistant. Have you been working on the issue? Candice Owens. We need to blackmail her faster. So yeah, what the fuck is going on? And Candice Owens here talking about it. Someone directly involved. No, this is another thing. Someone directly involved in the booking process has confirmed to me that are Egyptians who flew into Provo ahead of Charlie Kirk's assassination were staying at the La Quinta Inn and Suites in Orem, Utah. Yeah, because there was some Egyptian like military plane that had been uh, following Erica Kirk, like Charlie Kirk's wife, for a long time or something. Specifically, the University of Parkway Station. Remember, our Egyptians flew in September 4th and stayed through September 13th. We are now looking for footage of these individuals. If you own a store nearby and can check cameras, or perhaps you work at La Quinta and you remember something odd, someone in Utah may hold the key to solving this. I'm not in Utah, unfortunately. And if we find out the FBI sees the footage already, she's melting. Wow, 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 I'm melting. Yeah, I guess this is why they don't like her. Like, I still have my doubts about her, but I still think she's, more trustworthy than many other people in her position, like just being a celebrity and stuff. Has the press done its part and asked the White House and l'Elysee Palace whether there were any French legionnaires on the ground at UVU on 9/10, so when Charlie Kirk was banged? It seems a pretty straightforward thing to confirm or deny. I guess, yeah. If I was a member of the press and had access, I guess it would a good question to ask, but I don't know if they're gonna answer it. Okay, and this is the TPUSA event. At an official TPUSA event, toilet paper event, featured speaker Pastor John Amanchukwu called Candice Owens evil and demonic, even demanded applause for it. So, yeah. He also urged Candice Owens' husband to stop his wife. Like, why do they care so much if she's just a nutcase? Like, pray for her or something. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? But that's the last Candice news for this week. And now we go to Israel. Delenda Est. Israel has to be destroyed. And of course, talking about the political entity that is very harmful to the sanity and stability of the entire world. Let's see Few reasons why I keep saying that every week here. So this is the Christian village of Chebe in West Bank. Israel is burning it to the ground now. Be sure to shut your mouth, anti-Semites, while Israel ethnic cleanses the Semitic people of Gaza. Christian Zionists seem to get their blessing. Yeah, so I guess I don't see community notes, so I guess this is correct. But it's like I guess I can address here like one of the reasons why I'm not a Christian is that like because I do sometimes think about like Jesus and stuff because I do think that Jesus is some sort of positive spiritual entity or concept or whatever. But like one thing is like if I try to think of myself as Christians, and vast majority of Christians are still very clueless, and it's not like in a they're not innocent, they're just clueless in a malicious way, not innocent in a childish way or something, because majority of them still support Israel, or like they're the kind of people who praise some OnlyFans thought who says like suddenly like, oh, I become a Christian, I see the light, and then without any questioning her motives, that thinking that maybe she's just doing it for attention because it's good for business to sort of remake her image. But like a lot of these Christians, they care more about virtue signaling on social media than the truth or anything like that. It's like it would hurt me internally to say that I share, that's not the only reason, but like because I do think there are many positives to Christianity as well. But it's like I just like I like to think of Jesus and Christianity as separate things, because Christianity overall nowadays is I think Christianity, but like during the Middle Ages, that was probably much more respectable than it is nowadays. Like seeing your Christian brothers and sisters was probably you could respect them, but like, the majority still are completely like they they know much less about the Christian theology than I do, I would wager, and I'm no expert on the matter, but at least I seem to care about it more than many of these cultural Christians and stuff. But anyway, let's continue with Israel. So Guy Pearce, he's some celebrity guy. I know that like the name rings a bell, but I don't really know who he is. But anyway, he said this: I've never been so disgusted by a group of people in my life as I am by Israelis. Every day I witness their utter disregard and disdain for Palestinian life. It is shameful and sets humanity further backwards with every vile act like this. And then this post is from an account that no longer exists. At the moment when your conscience gets a hold of your Twitter account, but then your agent calls you and remind you who runs Hollywood. Okay, so yeah, he deleted his account. So it was like, yeah, he was sort of apologizing that previously I said something that I didn't mean and blah blah, something like that. So yeah, the second tweet I referenced this was him apologizing. Yeah, see. And somebody pointed out like he was put up to say this, and so then he can apologize, sort of to set the what's the norm for the normies, basically, like how to act on social media, and how not to act. I don't know whether that's true, but anyways, the Israeli army banned Android phones. iPhones are now mandatory. Jerusalem Post. See, I wished we had more options. Like if you want a smartphone, than Android or iPhone. How about like the third option phone? The third alternative phone. How about that? And Miss Rachel has been declared anti-Semite of the year because she dared to humanize a Palestinian child that was dismembered by Israel. So let's have a short clip of this horrible person.
Let's go back to sleep, Rahaf. We're so tired. See the bunny
Yeah, I don't want to play music because even though she's singing, but like I might get flagged by something. But it's like I don't know, like what I saw somebody else claiming that she's a horrible anti-Semite, but what other horrible crimes has she done? So this, see, how do I get on that list? Because it's become even Cenk Uyghur is on. Like it's becoming a badge of honor, really, to be an anti-Semite. It's like, come on, like unless there's another clip of her, I don't know, celebrating burning Israeli children or something. It's like this is really dumb to accuse her of being some nasty anti-Semite. It's like, yeah, anti-Semite is somebody who doesn't enjoy watching children get slaughtered. That's what is. So yeah, that's what it is. It's an update on the term. An emergency drill simulates massive intake of tens of thousands of Jews fleeing their countries due to severe anti-Semitic and security incidents. Is the Great Escape coming? Israel prepares for mass exodus. So Israel is preparing. So the rats are planning to jump ship. That must mean the ship is about to go down. Interesting. And not Jewish, Polish member of European Parliament slams Jewish privileges outside Auschwitz. Yeah, I have reported on this guy like many months ago. Grzegorz Braun, however, he was supposed to say it, rallies against new anti-Semitism bill as discrimination against all Poles. Promoting Jewish life in Poland is like inviting Dr. Hannibal Lecter to move in next door. Sounds appropriate way of phrasing it. Anna Kasparian reads the leaked documents proving Jeffrey Epstein was working directly for Israel. I haven't watched this clip, so let's see.
So let's get to some of the headlines that were featured over at Dropsite News because they poured over the Ehud Barak emails to Epstein, which of course were leaked as part of a hack. They also reported on the various documents and emails that were released by both Democrats and Republicans in the House Oversight Committee. So with that in mind, I mean, this is based on hard evidence. They were able to report the following stories. Epstein helped broker an Israeli security agreement with Mongolia. Interesting. Epstein helped Israel build a back channel to Russia during the Syrian civil war. That's not all. Epstein helped Israel sell a surveillance state to the Ivory Coast. So let's get to some
All
of
right.
the
So
headlines.
that's what she claims. Interesting. All right. Um, Kash Patel threatens Massey's staff with criminal investigations. This is why Thomas Massey just exposed the hidden Epstein list and called out Kash Patel for lying to the American people. Massey says that the FBI is sitting on files that name 20 other men tied to Epstein's sex trafficking operation, including a high-profile government official. They had this list the whole time. The cover-up is collapsing. I'm not gonna play all that. So yeah, Kash Patel has weaponized the FBI and is using it to threaten Thomas Massey's staff with criminal investigations if they continue speaking up about Israel and the Epstein files. I wonder, like, why hasn't anything bad happened to Massey yet? Like an accident or something. Well, he is an order of demolay, so I wonder if he's like some internal struggle, sort of like two different chaos gods, like in a Warhammer universe, like Khorne and Change fighting together or something. Is that what's going on? And that's why Massey is protected, even though Trump is constantly attacking him. And I don't know. Anyway, MTG, Magic the Gathering, now Marjorie Taylor Greene demands all influencers paid by Israel like Laura Loomer be registered as foreign agents. If they are being paid by a foreign country, they must register under FARA, period. But for people like Laura Loomer, yeah, it certainly makes sense. But it's like, okay, who, like influencers who pay by a foreign country? Well, I guess if the country pays, but of course, what if it's a corporation in a foreign country? Does that count? Or like, you get sponsored, or like, Asmongold or whoever gets sponsored by G Fuel or whatever. I don't know what country. Let's assume, like, a Spanish corporation sponsors a VTuber or Asmongold or whatever. Like, does that mean it's a foreign entity? And if not, then of course, they can easily just for sort of funnel money like that to Laura Loomer or whoever that is an actual foreign asset. So that's, I guess, the practicality of that is like, sort of up in the air still, but it's still, in principle, I agree, certainly. Israeli troops kill two Palestinians after they appear to surrender. And I think somewhere else it said they're like a 8-year-old and 11-year-old kid or something. Or maybe it's two others, but like something about they killed an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old as well. Um, so is this Laura Loomer? I'm personally offering $10,000 cash reward to the person who is able to provide me with the full attendee list of every single person who attended the People's Conference for Palestine that took place in Detroit, Michigan this last weekend. Political Jewish bounty on activists. That's where we are now. Yeah, like this is a parody account, so some things is just he makes up for, I guess, comedical reasons, but at least I don't see any community notes, so it's probably like factual information. But yeah, is it, stuff like this, is it legal? It sounds a bit like, threatening to do something bad to them. So Russia illegally annexes, Israel changes the map. So Putin, so from NPR, isn't that U.S. state-owned media or something? Putin illegally annexes territories in Ukraine in spite of global opposition. And during the war in Gaza, Israel drastically changed the map of the West Bank. See, this is one reason why I keep saying Israel delenda est, because they get special treatment. And yeah, thousands of Israelis line up for appointment to obtain Portuguese citizenship. So it appears the rats are fleeing the ship, but like, what do they know that we don't? Like, what's going to happen in Israel then if they are there? And I think if that happens in Portugal, I think we should send more Muslim refugees there then, because I can't trust um, the native Portuguese to be welcoming enough for the Israelis. I think they deserve a proper welcome. And on Holocaust denial laws, Jake Shields, they say you have a defense, but you can't bring any real defense because they call a real defense Holocaust denial. Germar Rudolph, I was never allowed to take a stand as a witness. German judges are required by case law to systematically deny motions that contain that kind of evidence. Interesting. That's what he claims. For reasons, I'm not going to comment more on that issue, but it's just interesting. That's how law works. Justice works. Bank robber. I am not sure. Did I already mentioned this last week? Probably not. But bank robber named Pretty Boy Floyd was known for destroying mortgage papers during heists, freeing hundreds of people from property debt. So this is a real hero, like a Robin Hood, if that's true. I don't know when he was, but it was probably in the 50s or something, maybe even earlier. It's like, yeah, that's a true hero. Because it's like, unlike somebody like Superman who protects the bankers from bank robbers, and like, because like when I think of Superman, it's like some really old Superman cartoon I remember seeing as a kid, where he's stopping a bank robbery. That's one reason haven't been a fan of superheroes since I grew up, because it's like they always protect the status quo instead of the actual criminals. Whereas I usually sympathize more with the so-called super villains, because even though they might be crazy and try harmful things, but they at least want to change the world. So that's one reason I haven't been a fan of this new superhero stuff, because I think for kids it's okay. It's just cool dudes with cool powers, but like it's too juvenile. Like there's something wrong with adults who really enjoy that sort of superhero crap. But now I think we can move on from Israel. I hope it's gonna be destroyed. Hey, maybe I will get my wish if they're gonna escape to Portugal or something. But of course, it doesn't really solve the underlying problem. But whatever. Let's go to um, gaming and entertainment and some IT crap too. Microsoft admits AI agents can hallucinate and fall for attacks, but they're still coming to Windows 11. Malicious content embedded in the UI elements or documents can override agent instructions, leading to unintended actions like data exfiltration or malware installation. Okay. So yeah, how does AI hallucinate? Yeah, it's a bit weird, but I don't know. Doesn't sound good. Windows 11 bug hides your password sign-in button. Microsoft confirms a Windows 11 bug accidentally makes password invisible on the lock screen login page. If you have multiple sign-in options like PIN, fingerprint, face, password, the password icon sign-in options may disappear. Well, that's one reason not to use fingerprint or face sign-in options. I hate them. I fucking hate that I have to have a PIN number on my laptop as well. I wish I didn't have to do it. Like, there's probably some way to get around it, but when I bought this laptop a few years ago, I tried to get rid of it, but I couldn't, and I decided it was better for my sanity to just let it go. Anyways, Windows 11 will allow AI apps to access your personal files or folders via File Explorer integration. Windows 11 is testing a new feature that lets apps like Claude and Manus AI access files on your PC through File Explorer. So somebody points out here that access is optional, requires explicit user consent, and runs within a restricted environment. Yeah, for now. For now, but eventually is gonna be a feature that's gonna be pushed on everybody, at least unless you explicitly say that you don't want it. Uh, yeah, I hope the Steam OS comes soon, and I hope it doesn't suck. Says that Windows 11 faster File Explorer preloaded is still slower than Windows 10. On a 4 GB RAM test machine, File Explorer used 32.4 megabytes of RAM without preloading. After turning on preloading, Windows quietly adds 35 megabytes more. So Explorer now sits at 67.4 megabytes in memory before you even open it. 35 megabytes isn't a big deal in 2025. Your browser eats that for breakfast. That's not the point of my testing. Why is the preloaded File Explorer still slower than Windows 10? I made a video compared the two versions. Yeah. Well, because everything has to be shittier. That's like I almost think there's an agenda, like some global agenda, just to make things shittier. It's like better to rule in hell than to serve in heaven. And since we are in hell, they, want us, our rulers really want us to feel like we're in hell. It's sort of like maybe AI has already won. It's like the AI from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It just wants to torture us, but it's like it's not power enough to just eradicate you know, millions of people. So it's just like slowly making things worse. Games run faster on Steam OS than Windows 11. Ours testing fine. Well, that's not a surprise. Linux one. Well, yes. So when is Steam OS coming? Yeah, because I don't know. I have a kid and all that stuff. I don't have like a lot of time and energy to start playing around it, like old school Linuxes and stuff. But it's like yeah, Steam OS might be nice. I assume it's gonna be much simpler to use than normal Linux and stuff, and maybe it's like a good gateway drug to more hardcore Linux. Anyways, OpenAI is a loss-making machine with estimates that it has no path to profitability by 2030 and will need a further 207 billion in funding even if it does. Okay, so what are they trying to do with OpenAI then? I don't know. Like, I I have no idea what's going on in the world financially. Like I've been saying for a decade at least that the economy is fake and gay and like it's yeah, I don't want to go on that rant right now. Underwater cables that carry the internet are in trouble. Over 95% of global internet traffic relies on roughly 500 undersea fiber optic cables, but far more vulnerable than commonly assumed. This almost makes me think it would be good if, like, vast majority of them were just cut. It's sort of like the best ending in Deus Ex, the one with the new Dark Age and stuff. Maybe that would be a good thing. Like you couldn't listen to me from all over the world, like my brilliant rants on golden news, but still, maybe it's worth it. Epic Games boss Tim Sweeney thinks stores like Steam should stop labeling games as being made with AI. Makes no sense, he says, because AI will be involved in nearly all future production. Fucking retard. That's even more reason why it should mention, or rather, like you want to know if something is not made with AI. Like I think Notch said it. The guy who made Minecraft said that. Oh, how about just made the tag to say like not made in with AI instead, right? And I'm not even like completely anti AI, but clearly vast majority of AI users will suck at least in the beginning. That's self evident because it's gonna be people who don't care or don't understand about games and stuff that will gonna be using it. But anyways, Valve artist responds to calls for Steam to drop "Made with AI" label, and where is the label? I haven't even seen it anywhere. Maybe I look at the wrong kind of games. Steam and all digital marketplaces need to drop the "Made with AI" label. It doesn't matter anymore. This is like saying food products shouldn't have the ingredients list. Consumers should have the information to decide if they want to buy something or not, depending on its content. The only people afraid of these are the ones know their product is low effort. Yeah, exactly. The food you eat and can kill you, an appliance in your house can catch fire. How an image or movie or game you play was produced is not comparable. I'm not afraid of the label personally. I think it's not enforced on Steam and the rules are not clear for developers or players. Would love to know if your clothes or coffee are produced using child labor, yeah, or if the materials are organically produced, or if your car engine has a certain time of technicalities. That should be visible to everyone so consumers can make an educated choice, not an opaque one. Yeah, exactly. Steam and all digital marketplaces need to drop. Okay, I agree. The AI tag is relevant to ARC exhibits for authorship disclosure and to digital content licensing marketplaces where buyers need to understand the right situation. It makes no sense for game stores where AI will be involved in nearly all future production. Yeah, this is Tim Sweeney. No, you nincompoop. That's like it's still good to have it. Like yeah, maybe majority of people won't care about it, but some will. Don't take away with people's options. I want to put this guy in an oubliette simply because, well, both of these because they assume a bit too much. Yeah, Mr. Beast has an announcement and has announced a partnership with the Rockefeller Foundation to reshape philanthropy. Like, who really, who are Mr. Beast's parents and grandparents? Like, is he really related to uh, Aleister Crowley? And if not, why is he called Mr. Beast? But yeah, it's like and I just can't understand like everybody talking about Mr. Beast and never bringing up the elephant in the living room with his name because it's a bit too on the nose, I guess. Like who actually likes Mr. Beast? Like even before the controversies that came up like a year ago or whenever. I don't know. Oh, but this is good news. The creator of the original Thomas the Tank Engine Skyrim mod has released another mod despite alleged warnings from Mattel. I'm incapable of learning lessons whenever it involves corporations. I fundamentally do not view toy company CEOs or media CEOs as people. Yeah, I think these people should be like a king or something. And sounds like people like this should be in charge, not the CEOs that aren't really shouldn't be uh, categorized as people because a corporation is already an artificial entity. So is a corporation is a person already. So a CEO is not really a person. It's just like a finger, a nose, or a dick of the corporation. So it's not really a person. Yeah, it makes perfect sense when you think of it. And yeah, I know this mod. I've never played it like Skyrim with this mod myself, but I have seen some Let's Play or something. Somebody use it. Maybe it was Sips from Yogscast who used it, or somebody like that. But yeah, this guy sounds like a brilliant philosopher. Oh yeah, and more fail from One Punch Man, the latest season. Look at her, like, look at her cheek. There's a band-aid, and then it disappears. This band-aid, and then it disappears. So I don't know. Is it like my impression was that it's probably AI because AI isn't so consistent, but of course, it might be that just the human artists are retarded. Like, it took 6 years between these two seasons, and how can I fuck it up so badly? Like, already like the second episode, it had like the guy sliding down the hill, and it was like one frame animation. Like, okay, sure, there's like if it's good, otherwise it's easy to forget something like that. But it's like in the previous last week I announced how I think it was this same character. She had 6 fingers, and now it's the disappearing band-aid. Are we still gonna get more gold from One Punch Man? Like how the fuck do they fuck it up so badly? Like what's going on? I'm interested like in the production process. Like did they start producing it just like 6 months ago or something, and for the 5 other years they didn't do anything at all, or were there like many different companies tried to do it, and they couldn't get the was there of issue with the rights? Like of course there was COVID that made, I guess, caused some difficulties, but still, come on, man. Oh yeah, and, Quentin Tarantino has directed a missing chapter of Kill Bill that didn't make it into the final film. The short film will be released in fortnight on November 30th. It's like, why? I guess it was released already. Like, who gives a fuck? And also, like, it looks bad, like the animation quality, and also, I think Kill Bill was overrated. Well, I think Tarantino is overrated. I haven't seen all of his movies, but like Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, they were pretty good back in the day. And also, I liked Four Rooms that has like short movies from 4 different directors, Tarantino being one of them. But since then, I don't think his movies are that good, and Kill Bill is like quite meh. It's like, I guess, moderately entertaining, but not that great. Anyways, the original Yakuza 2 had a club Adam where the goal is to become number one male host as Kiryu. The club trains you to become a host, how to find clients and entertain them to give them a good time and spend. Unfortunately, remake Kiwami 2 removed it entirely. Like, what the fuck? I haven't played Yakuza 2. I've just played Yakuza 0. And I'd like to play Yakuza 1 at some point, but I don't know, like, when I have the time. But anyway, like, why do they remove it? I guess it's problematic in some way, but it's like, making a remake and making the product inferior. But it wasn't Kiwami 2 like made published already years ago. So because the original is like PlayStation version, yes. So is it like PlayStation 2 version, right? So this isn't probably really news. Okay, somebody says they removed it from Kiwami 2 and now bringing it back for Kiwami 3, which is so weird. Yeah, I don't know why. And why would people buy it if they know there's features removed? And Yakuza 0 will be delisted and replaced by Yakuza 0 Director's Cut starting on December 8th. Well, I still have it on my Steam uh, games list and stuff, but I don't like this trend of let go of the past, kill it if you have to, or however it was in the new Star Wars movies. It's really alarming trend, but we live in 1984, so have to mess with history. So yeah, Sega and Ryuga Gotoku Studio have announced that December 8th, like Dragon and Yakuza series 20th anniversary releases, yeah, blah blah blah. Blah. So okay, let's just see what Dustanovic says here. I'm at a loss for words. Finally announces Yakuza 0 will be listed in 10 days, making the 0 DC the real new one. Delist 0, K1, K2 on Windows 10 instead of updating them. Refuse to update GOG versions. New versions break all mods. Cannot transfer saves even on PC. Go fuck yourselves. Yeah. And I said, I genuinely despise this company now. All my respect is down the drain, and I wish them nothing but the worst. Yeah, this is the kind of attitude to adopt. Exactly. Like, they are malicious, they are evil, they spit in your face, and you should like wish all but the worst. Yeah, the worst indeed. Like, don't you don't have to elaborate, but bad things deserve to happen to them. And then there's this CD Projekt Red CEO. We've been using Unreal Engine 5 for The Witcher 4 for almost 5 years right now, and we are very happy with what we achieved. Yeah, it's like, back in the day, developers that actually knew how to program games and stuff, they used to make their own engines to suit the game they made. But now it's like soulless slop. And, soulless people who like to make slop for people who like slop. That's how it works nowadays. And I don't know how to make a freaking game engine or program, but it's like, I don't have to know how to build a car to know if a car is not working properly or not. I know how to drive one. I don't have to know how to build one. But anyways, that's the last bit of news from this week. So yeah, I hope the guilty parties will get their just comeuppance in the typo fire. But I doubt it will happen, but you can always hope. But with that, I'm Adventure Argonaut. I thank you for watching. Bye bye.